My name is Jan Nolin, and I'm a participant in the SUITCEYES project from University of Borås, Sweden. And this is a breaking point in our symposium. We've heard all about research so far, and now we will bring in important organizations that work to support people with deafblindness. And the session is therefore called Networking, and we have 3 presentations. First from Frank Catt, head of Deafblind International, and all these talks have very good titles. So Frank's title is Within the Challenge Lays the Opportunity. Thereafter we have Sanja Tarczay, president of European Deafblind Union. The title is Nothing About Deafblind Without Deafblind. And the third presentation is from Anna Corbett, Senior MSI Practice Advisor at the organization SENSE. And these presentations are a bit different than earlier presentations. They will present the organizations and some ideas about how they do their work and how they view the situation for deafblind people today, including some reflections on the coronavirus situation. Okay, with that, let's see the first presentation from Frank.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for this opportunity to speak during this wonderful symposium. My name is Frank Catt, and I'm the president of Deafblind International. The title of my presentation is Within the Challenge Lays the Opportunity. So I will focus on a few items. After a short introduction of Deafblind International, I will share some figures and focus on communication rights. Then I have little time for challenges and opportunities. This is a presentation. I will use no pictures, only text. The slides are there just to support my story. So, Deafblind International, who are we and what are we doing? Well, it's a non-profit membership organization that is international active. It focuses on needs of individuals who are deafblind. And we have a volunteer board with members around the globe, and we mostly focus on bringing together individuals and organizations. However, it is fair to say that Deafblind International is also a community, people with the same ambition, motivation, and looking for colleagues in the field. Looking for colleagues in the field to learn and share practices and meet each other during conferences and even have fun. During the last 2 years, our membership grew enormously, mostly individual memberships. We want to be able to share as much as possible. That is why we see DBI as the point of connection. So a point of connection is one of our strategic points. We want to be easy to find. It means, for example, growing exchange and learning from each other, identifying and promoting best practices, stimulating research in the field, or advocating for international awareness and recognition of deafblindness as a unique and distinct disability. But for all of that and more, a place where you can find each other. Build your own network. In the meantime, we worked on our website to make it more accessible and easier to find. Our communication group is very active in finding what is going on in the field around the globe and with sharing. We do that through ambassadors of DBI. And communication of DBI through social media has never been so active. And we have an interesting magazine that's called The Review, and that is completely digital. So easy to share with others. So if we look at what always has been an important issue for DBI and persons with comprehensive communication need is the rights on communication. The UN Convention of Rights for Persons with Disability, which has now been ratified by countries, has created a human rights framework that informs the development of policies, programs and services at the national level to enhance and participate mostly on inclusion of persons with disabilities. Well, the challenge is there for people who have comprehensive communication needs. For example, persons with congenital and acquired deafblindness, with multiple disabilities or visual impairment, also MDVI, or with severe communication disorders are diverse in resources, are diverse in needs and life situations. Most of them, however, share this. Their communication needs can't be just met by an assistance or basic technology, because they are complex and comprehensive. That means, obviously, to have competent communication partners and adequate assistive technology available. This is one of the items that this symposium is focusing on. I would like to share some facts and figures that I took from the global report from WFDB. There is a growing momentum for change based on inclusion, which marks a significant shift from the invisibility and exclusion of persons with disabilities from the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs. However, it is vital to recognize that persons with disabilities are not a homogeneous group. Persons with deafblindness remain in many ways invisible, and they represent between 0.2 to 2% of the global population, and sadly more likely to live in poverty and be unemployed, with lower education outcomes than other persons with disabilities. They face multiple barriers, such as lack of access to support services, accessibility of information, which ultimately makes it extremely difficult to voice their issues, mainly because these services are provided in a way that are difficult to access. Since COVID-19, there is a big change all over the world concerning the accessibility of information in general, because face-to-face contact is more difficult for everyone. Increasingly, information is provided through new digital platforms. That is interesting also for persons with deafblindness. It is important to look at these challenges. Persons with disabilities are being disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, and they are considered less of a priority. Information is not yet being made available to everyone in accessible formats. So persons with disabilities are having difficulties in making informed decisions, for example. Empowering people with deafblindness through initiatives like this are needed. Social and physical distancing is a new fact to all the people in the world, in our society. That means a new reality to all of us. When the COVID-19 pandemic started, the need for online communication became an issue that needed to be addressed and solved immediately, because regular support and contact was in a lot of cases not possible anymore. This need applied for everyone in our society. One of the issues, there was no exception, it influenced all our lives. The society and the way the communication was done. However, physical distancing became a new reality for everyone, like I said. A growing part of our daily work, for example, is done from home, with the challenge to maintain and improve connections and communication. all the members of a society are facing more or less the same obstacles and limitations and are depending on the same digital platforms in order to communicate. Where until now there was a big gap in how communication and information were shared. Suddenly, the society could not depend on their daily routines. And this is basically always the case for persons who are deafblind. It brought the society in a completely different concept of contact and communication. And in my opinion, it does offer good opportunities of awareness raising and campaigns, because now people are able to picture what it means to be without all these connections. The whole society does experience now the effects of social and physical distancing. Sometimes that is always being difficult. Something that has always been difficult to explain. So this is a good push forward to make information accessible. The feeling of not being part of something, the feeling of not being heard at all. While on the other hand, I have never seen so much persons who are deafblind at meetings, webinars, from all over the world. Distance is not the biggest problem anymore. Conference, meetings, work, doing groceries online, etc. are suddenly within reach of people that were not able to participate. I'm not saying it's easy, but there is an opportunity there. An opportunity to get involved. An opportunity to call for awareness. So this is the last slide. I would like to ask you to become a member, and it is free membership. You can find all the information on deafblindinternational.org. I included a few other interesting links as well. ICVI, an education for people with visual impairment, the World Federation of the Deafblind, and ISAC, the Augmentative and Alternative Communication, and of course the European Deafblind Union. So DBI is the point of connection, and during the pandemic we entered a new reality, a reality that infected all of us, and hopefully by the push that it did bring as well to connect for communication, it will bring opportunities as well for the deafblind world. More and more persons will attend meetings, conferences and webinars. So thank you very much, and I hope to answer your questions in a minute. Thank you.
Hi everyone, greetings from sunny and warm Croatia. We have such a lovely weather these last few days. So I'm very pleased to be here since I have heard that many of my deafblind colleagues are also attending the symposium and also different professionals. So I have to say it's quite an honor to be a part of such high-class conference. This topic, living through touch, including haptic communication for inclusion, accessibility, and participation, I consider it very important, and I think it can really lead to some changes in the future. As you might already know, I'm here to represent European Deafblind Union, EDBU. My name is Sanja Tarczay, and my sign name is like this, Sanja. I'm the president of EDBU. Our organization represents actually a really strong voice for all deafblind people in Europe. EDBU, I would say we are quite a young organization. We were founded in 2003 in Denmark. At that time, most of the organizations which were included were from Scandinavian countries, but now we have many different members due to our effort and hard work in Europe and even wider. If I remember correctly, in 2017, we had a lot of good connections with different countries in Europe and deafblind organizations. So we had 19 organizations of the deafblind people which were members. But we also include organizations who work for or with deafblind people as members. And we include individual members, individual deafblind people, volunteers, or certain professionals who want to also be a part of our, for example, youth group, which is quite small but growing. So what's actually our role and why do we exist at the European level? Well, many countries in Europe, believe it or not, still have not recognized deafblindness as a unique disability. So actually our first goal is to make deafblindness a visible disability, to raise awareness about it, that this is a unique disability and that it brings special needs, considering accessibility, communication, support services or social welfare and so on. At the same time, we actually understood that we cannot do this fight alone. We need good support services, good quality interpreters in order to take an active role in our lives. So these are two areas that we work on mostly. I have already said that deafblindness is a double sensory impairment, and what's common for all deafblind people is we all face isolation. Isolation is really a big part of our lives. Especially during these times of pandemic and coronavirus, deafblind people are facing actually a triple isolation. So before coronavirus, we had big challenges in our lives, but now these challenges just became much bigger and serious. And we feel that the government and that the important stakeholders don't really think about the population of deafblind in such hard times. So that's why I'm happy to be a part of this conference. And I think that we can try to find a way how to decrease the sense of feeling discriminated with the help of different professionals working with the deafblind. So how do we as EDBU, how do we contribute to this battle against discrimination? We have made and sent out a leaflet connected to COVID-19 and some guidelines when it comes to vaccination process, face masks, communication. In some countries we have had success. For example, here in Croatia we managed to organize a group vaccination for deafblind people, and also support service providers who worked with deafblind people and deaf, they're not obliged to wear face masks. But in other countries, still nothing was done, so we have a lot of work to be done yet. So EDBU actually has recognized the 5 steps for creating a better life for deafblind. So I'm also inviting you to help us in these 5-step program. So first, we need to motivate deafblind people to take action in their role. Second, we definitely need to support organizations who work for deafblind people, because in these hard times when there are no funding, unemployment rate, deafblind people can feel quite lost. So we need to, an organization or the deafblind have very active role in this, and we need to support them. Thirdly, some deafblind people really have trouble accessing information, and then this leads to lack of education. And it's very important for us to get good education, to exchange knowledge, to learn from each other's experience, because it's easier to fight for your rights if you know how to and you have different information. So our 4th step is connected to lobbying. We really want deafblindness to be included in every legislative framework. You already know our motto, nothing about us without us. So it's very, very important that we are included in decision-making process when it comes to laws and meeting our needs in different ways. The last step is connected to networking. We like to build bridges and to connect to different organizations. We have signed different collaboration contracts with different organizations. For example, like European Platform, they have different organizations who have problems with the communication. For example, deaf, hard of hearing, deafblind. So when we can work together on promoting our needs and making some campaigns and projects. So when I look into our future, I see good things coming. For example, within EDBU, we have 3 divisions. We have one youth group, as I like to call them, our future group. And this division is planning in 2022 they're going to organize a youth camp in Brussels. We also have a group for deafblind women. We have had many deafblind women already talking on some conferences and forum of women with disabilities and reporting about the situation of deafblind women. And the 3rd division is just in the beginning of foundation, and it's regarding elder deafblind. We know that it's hard enough to be deafblind, but being deafblind and old, it's really hard to imagine. So it's important for us to collaborate, to work together, because if we are together, if we are connected, we can become a strong voice for all deafblind people in Europe. And it is very important for us to be seen and to be heard so that we can be included in the decision-making process. That's why I believe this conference is a good place to exchange experience. And just don't forget that what deafblind Helen Keller used to say, that alone we can do actually so little, but when we come together we can do so much. So you professionals, you have to come together with us deafblind people, and I think that like that we can make some good changes in the world. Feel free to contact EDBU, feel free to contact me personally. I'm very open for your questions and future collaboration. So thank you for your attention.
Hello, my name is Anna Corbett and I'm the Senior Multisensory Impairment Practice Advisor working at Sense. My presentation is called No One Left Out of Life. At the bottom of the slide, we have the Sense's email address, which is www.sense.org.uk. And on the other side, there is the sense icon, which is an orange and purple hand in a circle with the strap line saying connecting sight, sound, and life. So how sense began? Sense began with a conversation between two mothers, Peggy Freeman and Margaret Brock. The picture shows on the left Peggy Freeman and on the right is Margaret Brock. And they're pictures of two elderly white women with short hair. The two mums discovered that they had something in common, and that was that they had contracted rubella while they were pregnant. And as a result, they had babies that were deaf-blind. They found there was a lack of support or advice for how to bring up their children, and they were worried about how their children were going to go through life without being able to express themselves or communicate. They decided to reach out to other families, and this is where Sense was born. Today, Sense supports children, young people, adults, and families through support in the home, the community and our centres, residential care and supported living, education and transition to adulthood, holidays, short breaks and one-to-one buddying, arts, sports and wellbeing programmes, information and advice, and campaigning for the rights of people with complex disabilities to take part in life. There is also the sister organisation, which is Sense International, and they are a leading global charity supporting people with deafblindness in countries like Bangladesh, India, Kenya, and Romania, to name but a few. Connecting differently. We believe that no one, no matter how complex their disability, should be isolated, left out, or unable to fulfill their potential. The picture is of a woman in a yellow shirt and she is painting. She has the paintbrush in her left hand and she has her support worker sitting next to her, and the support worker has her hand out to the lady. For over 60 years, Sense have developed skills and knowledge to help people who are deaf-blind. We want people to live ordinary lives, to have conversations, to make friendships, and to have independence. I'm now going to show you the Sense Spirit promotional video. And on the screen, it says, communication can connect us. I'm just going to start the video now.
Communication can connect us or isolate us. Schoolgirls in a gazebo chatting while a girl watches from afar, sitting alone. A man stares through a window, looking sad. At Sense, we find thousands of ways to connect. The next 20 seconds shows people engaging in different activities using different ways of communicating. Through the language of speech, the language of sign, the language of music, the language of smell, the language of art, the language of dance, the language of baby Josh playing with bubbles, of Lucy with gestures, Libby with picture symbols, Fernando with hand-on-hand signing. For everyone who is deaf-blind, for everyone living with complex disabilities, for everyone. Because life's better when we're all connected. The next 20 seconds shows people connecting with each other and the world around through different activities, including two people chat in a cafe using hand-on-hand signing. A group of people enjoy swaying back to back in a dance class. A wheelchair user being taken on an adapted bike ride. A toddler plays in a sensory ball pond. A girl laughs under a giant multicoloured parachute being wafted by the rest of the group. A girl and support volunteer enjoy kayaking. A man and support worker have fun performing a lively hand dance routine. Two women hug. Sense, connecting sight, sound and life. No one left out of life, no matter what.
The title of this slide is called Making Sense of Dance, and it's just a really nice picture of a woman who is leaning on her dance partner for balance, and she is holding her leg out quite elegantly as if she's in a ballet pose. And this is a snapshot of a picture taken from when Sense did some work with an international global dance troupe, with deafblind people, and it was a fantastic initiative that Sense had taken part in. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is networking and collaboration. And we believe that we are stronger together. However, I am going to touch a little bit on some of the barriers to networking and collaboration. And the first bullet point is the nature of social care, including high turnover of staff. The next point is geography and face-to-face events. This is where the events take place and the distance that people might have to travel to get to them. Information prior to the event. If there isn't enough information beforehand, sometimes it might be difficult to see the benefits of attending those events and networking. And then cost, time, and capacity. However, COVID-19 has made networking easier, and the virtual world has opened up doors to many people. So we are stronger together. Organisations Sense connect with include the Royal National Institute of the Blind, Deafblind UK, RECT UK, MENCAP, the University of Birmingham and the University of Nottingham, the Helen Sanderson Association, direct links with British government through the public policies team, and a complex disability consortium made up of 10 organisations. In this picture, we have a man and a woman communicating through Deafblind Manual. And the pandemic has actually strengthened a lot of Sense's connections, as more than ever there is a need for people to work together for the good of others. Being inspired. So Sense, art, sports and wellbeing. The picture on this slide is the front of the Sense Art Connect Manifesto. And the graphic on the slide is an abstract black pencil drawing of a face with some glasses. There is also the Sense icon in the right-hand corner of the slide. So, at Sense, we have a fantastic art, sports and wellbeing team who have done extraordinary things, particularly through the pandemic, to keep people active and engaged and really creative. This includes the manifesto, which was developed by the disabled artist Tanya Raab Weber. And this is a broad set of statements which try to tackle loneliness for people for now and for the future as well. So art, sports and wellbeing, they are inclusive and inspirational. And some of the things that they've been doing over the pandemic include build your own terrarium with Kew Gardens, inclusive dance, drama and breathing exercises with Chicken Shed Theatre Group, Sense Keep Active virtual sports sessions, and over 1,500 arts and wellbeing equipment boxes sent out to services across the UK, including make your own soap kit, self-massage, clay and painting kits. And this is just to name but a few of some of the fantastic things they've been delivering to people. Tackling loneliness. The pandemic has had a severe impact on disabled and deafblind people. Loneliness is disproportionately high amongst those people who are deafblind and have disabilities. And this is even before the pandemic and COVID-19. So Sense strategy and campaigns include, Sense's goal is to support 10 times more people by 2026, extending their buddying service, which connects disabled people with volunteers, support siblings of people who are deafblind and have complex disabilities, gather information and support the local communities to be as accessible as possible, because according to research done by Sense, this is one of the best ways to reduce loneliness and isolation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. And thank you, all of you, because these were very interesting presentations, all of them. We already have a few questions and we are short of time, but I would like to start with asking about, and if all three of you could activate your cameras, yes, please. Clarify this coronavirus ambivalence, I think, because on the one hand, we've heard about the added effects on loneliness, and on the other hand, as Frank pointed out, he has never seen so many people with deafblindness active on seminars and so on. So there's a lot more possibilities, but there is also negative effects. How do you view these? Are these different people in the spectrum of people with deafblindness who can take opportunities, and those that become more lonely? Frank, activate your microphone, please.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is a question for Sanja to start with, but I'm not sure if she's ready.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I could say that I guess, yes, there is a difference. It is not like you have a homogeneous group of deafblind people. Like before, even Marlene said, and others, there are, well, you could say there are 3 types of deafblindness, but there is much more. Every individual has his own, her or his own needs. And therefore, probably the people that we meet in webinars or using online communication are able to do that. But there is a bigger group probably that is not able to use those assistive technology or any technology at all, and always are depending on assistance.
Yes. Anyone more want to pitch in on that? I think there's something similar when it concerns assistive technology, because we started this suitcase project by doing a quite large interview study, and to interview people in 5 different countries. There were big cultural differences regarding how assistive technologies were viewed. In some countries, independence was very important. It was welcomed in that way because you could become more independent. But mostly there was a fear of assistive technology that perhaps of economic reasons, these technologies would take away the humans in the environment. It would be devastating, of course. So do you see the same kind of ambivalence towards assistive technology? Anna, yeah.
If I can just say, so I think with assistant technology, I think there's absolutely room for both human interaction and assistive technology. And quite often from Sense's point of view, we're trying to support people to get out into communities to prevent the loneliness, because this is where you're going to stop people being isolated, is by going out in the communities. And quite often you need the help of assistive technology to help people whilst they are out in the community, to be a presence. So I think they go hand in hand. Definitely, it doesn't, just because you have assistive technology doesn't mean that you won't have the human interaction as well.
Yeah,
I agree. There's something else that I would like to add. Talking about technology in the deafblind field is not something that we used to do a lot. So there is a sort of a fear or a hesitation on this issue. And the other thing that might be also of influence, I'm not sure, it probably depends on which country or which organization you're supported by, is that professionals do not always have the complete knowledge on what is available in technology as well. But I totally agree with Anna.
Yeah, there is a lobbying power in your organizations. And Sanja talked a bit about that as well. But in our field as researchers, we are dependent on lobbying, also reaching research policy and research policy giving funds to the development of assistive technology for persons with deafblindness. But we saw that in the earlier literature review that there's not that much done in the field, and we saw that when we entered this project, there's not much done really. particularly aimed at persons with deafblindness. And so we would appreciate if you also did some lobbying on research policy.
Yeah, you're correct. And that is one of the reasons why we just recently started a network at Deafblind International on technology. And our networks consist of several members from different countries. And it is just starting this year. So I can't say much about it, but one of the participants is Meikje, that is also has been mentioned in earlier presentations. And she's quite active in both the human side of it as well as the technology side of it.
Yeah. And let's see if there are any questions.
Can I add
from the audience?
something, please?
Yes. Yes, please.
It's very important that we don't forget that we have to advance the technology a lot, because a lot of deafblind people in their countries do not have the possibilities at all to get those technologies and those accessibility technologies. And that's the first thing. And it's also important to say that technology cannot it can't make the installation less isolating that it already is for the deafblind people. And that's why we have to work on the technologies and how to present them to deafblind people as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it for me for now.
Yes, and it's also problematic, the difference in policies. So tomorrow we'll be talking about our policy study, and the regulation is just so different in different countries. It's not the same for different European countries, and there are then different economic viabilities for people in different countries to receive different forms of assistive technologies. So it's that makes it difficult for entrepreneurs to invest and try to sell in all over Europe, for instance.
Yeah. If I may, what I was trying to point out that during the pandemic, social distancing is something that we all experienced. So people have a slight better idea of what it means to be not able to do the normal things.
Yeah.
That is why I think this is the right moment, and I do agree with Sanja, the need of working together to advocate for this item as well. And we've seen that companies like Zoom or Microsoft Teams is in a high speed trying to update their systems and the support of subtitling or making a better connection, a better quality of the images as well. And it would be interesting if we could work together and just push those larger corporate institutes to focus on, if it works for people with disabilities, it will work for everyone.
Yeah, and
yeah, I agree, definitely.
Yeah, but then there's also a problem that we have been thinking a lot in this project, that if we allow companies like Google to come in, they will want to collect the data of what persons with deafblindness can use in order to target specialized commercials to them. So it's there are many difficult problems.
Yeah, there are quite some challenges there. Yeah, because the fact that we pre-recorded our presentations, it was not so easy just to interact between the three of us. But I just wanted to add something that Sanja said on being a distinct disability. it might be good to share as well that we are running a project at the moment to get at the World Health Organization the ICF recognition for people who are deafblind, and that means health-related domains. So we hope to do that within 2 years, because that's a long-term activity, and that might even have a push on other areas as well as research or technology, for example.
Yes, yes. That will have to be the final word, because we are have passed our limit here, and unfortunately I didn't have time to read Q&A. There are a few questions. If you could look at these, there's a question to Anna about sense. If you can address these in written form.
Yes, I will do that now.
Okay, thank you very much for this session, which I found very inspiring. And the next 3 sessions will deal with connections between research and actual applications, bridging the gap. So looking forward to those.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.